John, grab and go concessions. I know yesterday we've gone through some beginners questions as far as the what it takes to start and open up a food truck business. And today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover the the do's and don'ts. Excuse me. I'm going to cover the do's and don'ts as far as even before you open up a food truck business, guys. Let's start with a truck purchase, right? Well, truck purchase, I've covered that in the last video. Truck purchase, like I said, it depends on what it is that you are going to do with the truck. Some people buy the truck and they park it, regardless if it's got a bad transmission or not. They just park it and then they serve out of it. Is that a good thing? That truck has to be at least able to. Well, you don't have to take it to the commissary if it's self-sufficient. So be it. Depends on the state and county, but you can't have it sitting there because it's got to have at least aired up tires and stuff. And if you need to move it from time to time, the city will require for you to move it or just turn it into a brick and mortar if you can. All right, people say wrap. What type of wrap? Well, the type of wrap is going to deflect who you are and what you sell. I can't say, well, wrap it and do burgers. The only thing I always mention is don't wrap a truck in or a trailer and then put your menu on it and put prices on it. Prices vary and menus vary. You might have sold good chicken wings at the mall, and you're up at the fair. You didn't sell one chicken wing within 2 hours, right? Because people are buying funnel cake. So don't put your menu on your wrap. If you put your flag on your wrap, you better be ready to serve that food. Because people look at the truck and it says it's got an Ethiopian flag on it, they're going to expect Ethiopian food. So you might want to keep that universal. Okay, kitchen equipment. Again, that depends on what you do and what it is that you're cooking. But I always tell people that are starting out, if you get in the truck build, always have everything spaced out. I notice a lot of food trucks, the stove is stuck to the deep fryer, the stove is stuck to the flat pan, and that's hard to clean. When you're getting ready to clean the truck, it's really going to be a problem. You have food all in between, and then the deep fryers. If you do have deep fryers, I always recommend you buy shields. If you got two deep fryers, if most deep fryers are actually stuck together in between, but on the sides, you want to buy a shield in case of splattering grease and everything else. Grease can cause a fire. So permits and licensing. Well, I guess permits and licensing is actually once your truck passes inspection, you got the plan. You apply at your state capital. In this state here is Tallahassee, Florida. They charge you a bunch of money, and then you get your license. Okay, insurance. Insurance. If you got a food trailer, insurance is not necessary. It's going to be hard to even get insurance on a food trailer. Okay, the trailer itself, it'll be hard. So you don't need insurance for the trailer. Okay, if you got a pickup truck, these insurance companies are so harsh, and these people like if you had a pickup truck and you told them that you used the pickup for business, right? You can get insurance for the truck itself, and that would cover the trailer. That's what they say. Because anything you do as a claim, it's either you get dropped or you lose. So try and avoid just drive safe and try and avoid accidents and things like that because that can be a problem. Okay, next commissary fees. I've covered that. If required, commissary fees. Some commissaries you can pay them at a time. Some commissaries you can do like a yearly subscription with them. Yeah, some commissaries you can. I mean, if you got a big thing going, You can say, hey man, can I pay you for a week or whatever it is. Some of them will accept it and some won't. But the first time you get inspected, okay, it's got to be at a commissary or if you know someone with a restaurant. I'm giving you all this experience because I've made a lot of from the mistakes and trials and error that I've committed. So I kind of broke it down, and hopefully you can absorb most of it. Now, there's an issue with generators. Okay, thank God today we have this inverter type generator. Harbor Freight sells one. It's called the Predator. I've never had one. And honestly, I made a mistake. I went out and bought a generator, a very powerful generator, right? It was 15,000 watts, but the decibels are probably not the appropriate for certain areas. Like if you're inside of a facility, you're selling food, a loud generator will not be accepted. I think it's a 90 dB gain or somewhere in that OSHA bracket. Get a noise, an inverted generator, which is actually quiet. You could actually speak over it with another person. Type of gas, generator, propane. That would be by choice. I'm not a propane person when it comes to you know energy, but they do have the integrated type. You can use propane or gasoline. Me personally, propane pits your pistons. I'm not a fan of propane. Okay, inventory is like something that you shouldn't have to worry about. If you're starting out, you got two menus on the food truck. Inventory is like, you know what, two boxes of fries. If you do breakfast, a box of eggs, your toast, your butter, you know, but you're not gonna don't go out and buy 10 boxes of fries and then five boxes of chicken tenders or overcrowd yourself, overcrowd your freezer. One thing you gotta understand, even if you have a big commercial style freezer or refrigerator, you gotta leave room right in between because most refrigerators, the fan is on top. You can't just crowd and push everything on top of each other or next to each other. You gotta leave like a space in between actually when you store food in any stand-up freezer for that matter, right? So that way you create flow. When you close the door, if you notice on commercial freezers, the fan turns on and it vacuums the door shut. That is a method they use to remove moisture or to keep moisture from the food, from spoiling the food. So inventory to me, you start out, you don't need a big huge walk-in cooler with the stuff. It's not worth it. You actually go ahead and buy as you go. Okay. Emergency repair fund marketing. Well, marketing to me is something I've covered. Just make some cards, man. Make sure you got a good recipe. Keep it low, keep it low volume. And then the first time people taste your food, make sure that you're clean, your hands are clean. People look at your nails, they look at inside the truck. A little music won't hurt. I used to when I did when we did natural juice, like we would do, and there's a certain type of aroma, a certain type of smell, like a mango or a strawberry. You can wipe the counters with that. People smell that fruit and they'll buy fruit from you. It's like, you go to Goodyear, you smell a new tire smell. It's not a new tire smell, it's a spray, like a new car spray, put it that way. Emergency repair fund. I doubt you're gonna have 1,000 in the bank or 1,000 in the safe there for in case something happens because you're just starting out. Hopefully nothing happens. Okay. That's why I don't recommend you taking the food truck all around town because a flat tire alone can be a problem. So emergency fund, if you got it, if you don't, you just, you'll make it. Many owners, actually many new owners, underestimate repair and maintenance costs. You don't know what it's going to be. You don't know what this technician that's going to come on your truck and fix your deep fryer, you don't know what he's going to charge you. So if you can buy the stuff new, buy it new. Most deep fryers would probably last you 2 years if you use it every day before something goes wrong. And I truly don't believe that Atosa is the best brand. I don't believe Cookrite is the best brand. They're all made in Mexico. Okay? It's the same thermocouple. It's the same thermostat, the same button, the same makeup, the same drum, the same welds. It's the same thing. They're all the same, unless you want to go higher and just go electric. Uh, like I said, start with a small menu, speeds up service, lowers food waste, make inventory easier, and you help customers remember you. Always see to it that if you can even do a handshake or a bump, a fist bump, let that customer remember you. You know, if you remember a customer's name, he's your friend for life. Yeah, Mr. Joe Smith, man, how you doing? Oh my God, how you doing? Sometimes that person might be talking to somebody, and that specific person might say, "Hey, Joe, come here." You pick up that name. Next time, Mr. Joe, how are you? Once you show that customer that you know them by their first name, you got a customer for life. Um, did you know that the busiest food trucks actually specialize in three items only? Let's pick grilled cheese sandwich, a lobster roll, or some loaded mac. Three items. The busiest food trucks are known for three items. I've tried the 10 things on the menu because I've been at flea markets where people would ask me different things. Man, do you make this? You make that? And I would, okay, next week I'll have it for you. It becomes a, like, it's like you tie your two shoelaces together and then you're trying to run. Don't do that. Don't listen to people that says you should make this, you should make that. No, you got three things on the menu, or you got one menu divided in three. For instance, you do tacos, soft taco, hard taco, burrito taco. Bam. You wake up 4 in the morning, you know you putting that meat in that chili in that flavor. You like, oh man, by 12 o'clock I'm gonna sell this out. Get your sauce separate. You get your meat. Did you know the best burrito tacos are made from cow head in Mexico? Meat that's inside the cow head, parts of the chuck too. Yeah, three things on the menu, and then you can have three drinks. You can do passion fruit drink. You can do lime. People love lime juice, and you can do like a watermelon mango, or you can do a watermelon or a peach mango. I like to do slushies with everything I just said. Let me tell you something. If you got a slushy machine and you make like it takes time. I don't like to use fake lime, but if you sit there and squeeze a nice half a bucket of lime and then you add a little almond twist to it, and lime is like, what is it? The ratio is like 5 to 1, I think. Or no, no, it's like 3 to 1. Like a half a gallon of lime can do a gallon and a half. So it's like 3 to 1. Anyway, you do slushies. If you do natural fruit slushies, it's nothing. Just cut up a watermelon, seedless watermelon. You cut it up, put it in the slushy, add a little vanilla essence to it, a little salt and sugar. Believe me, those are sellers. Oh my God, those are actually sellers. So for you guys that are in the fruit truck, meaning fruit as in mango truck, you can actually do a fruit slushy. It sells I recommend the bun two is the best. I don't recommend the Vivors and the Chinese maids and stuff like that. They only last but so long. And your customers actually they'll see that this guy's really it's natural. There's nothing powder in it. There's no citric, this and that, fructose in it and everything in it. And besides those machines, whenever you use like fructose, you gum up the machine anyway. So keep it natural. All right. How about a nice test before you launch? Okay. Um, Before opening, do pop ups. Okay. Cater small events. Feed friends, family. No, no. Don't get into the habit of feeding friends and family. Uh. Yeah, I'll give you a burger. You're gonna come help me sweep. You'll never see them. You're gonna make enemies. Okay. I'm not saying that family come from overseas or family come from New York. Hey, I'm gonna treat y'all to something. But remember when you started that food truck, who helped you? That's the people who help you are the ones you do help. Or if you feel like doing charity, the Salvation Army's down the street. When you start with the feeding the friends and all that craziness, next thing you know, they're gonna come sit there and bring beer and damage your business. That's just the way it is. Take it from me. Okay. Taste. Let's go with taste. Taste test pricing, portion sizes, speed, and service. Those things depend on taste depends on how you cook and how you prep your stuff. Pricing, you gotta price your stuff according to how you purchased it. You gotta learn how to understand how many chicken wings is in a box. You gotta learn how to count how many slabs is in a box. 6 slabs in a box, you know, and then you're gonna have to understand how many ribs actually is in a slab. Okay, is it 16 or is it 16 to 20? Because you got to realize that a slab have it where you got the smaller ones and it goes from small to big. So that stuff you got to understand. That's how you price your stuff. You price your stuff according to the way you purchased it. Number one, if you got to make at least I don't know a 40, maybe 40 to 50% at least markup and then profit and everything else. Because remember, you got to send sales tax out too on that hot food that you cook. That's when portion sizes come in. Okay. Are you going to say, well, I got a rib dinner? The rib dinner consists of I got macaroni, I got rice, and I got ribs. How many ribs are you? They would say, how many bones? How many ribs are you putting in that dinner? So you do 2 ribs per dinner. You do the math, and you sell that plate of food for $15. Well, you can take the 2 ribs and do the math between that whole rib, how many ribs you got left, and how many dinners that slab can actually give you. That's how you price your stuff. You know what I mean? Or you can just say, well, you just have a standard price. But you gotta after you whatever you sell, in order for you to keep up with inventory or not inventory, but to keep up with markup and profit, you got to make sure that when you sell that whole box of ribs or that one slab, you do the math. Okay, if you got 20 bones in a slab, how many dinners is that? That is 10 dinners. Hoping that it's then the gristles and the excess stuff you can actually cook those too and include that. So you got 20 ribs in a slab. That's 10 dinners. 10 dinners at $15 is what? 150, right? Okay. See, there it is. So between the 3 sides in that slab, that's 150. So you can time that by the 8 slabs in the box. Keep your head up. Keep it straight. You can make money. Okay. Of course, that slab eventually you're gonna have to do like 3 bones. When you get to the very arc, the lower part of the ribs, you might have to do 3 instead of if you were at the beginning of the slab, you can do 2, right? So that's how I calculate things. And the same thing for chicken wings. You figure you sell a person 4 wings, right? If you go to Hooters and those guys, what they do, four wings become eight pieces. Yeah, they take the winglet off, they keep the drumlet, and they keep the other part, which is actually the it's called the what is it, mid wing or something, and they'll turn that into eight wings. They call it eight wings. That's what they call it. But you could actually do four wings and then make it look like eight wings and sell it for the price of four wings. So you look at the big guys, then you kind of like, you know what? If they're up there and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna come here. You keep it low, and then you explain to your customers, hey man, Flyers Wings sells the wings for so and so, but me, you know, I'm not a fried chicken kind of guy because fried chicken, if you are in a busy location, that can be a problem because there's a special there's a special way when you thaw frozen fried chicken. One of the worst things you can do with chicken is to put it in the freezer and expect it for the like you pull it out 4 in the morning. You expect it to be done like thawed and stuff by 10 a.m. It's not gonna happen because when bone marrow freezes in chicken, it becomes a problem. You can fry that chicken and the bone explodes and leaves a dark color in the meat. Of course, it's the marrow that explodes. So chicken is something that you gotta thaw like last night, put it in the fridge, and then bring it out again and make sure you keep that under 4 hour mark before you fry it. All right, what else? Pricing and portion sizes. Portion sizes depends like okay, it all depends on what you do and how many sides you do give. Um, Everything you buy, including a lid of a cup, costs you money. Customer walks up says, "Can I get a fork?" Okay, that fork costs you money. Can I get a plate? But you're not buying anything from me. Why am I going to give you a plate? Oh, that person gets mad because well, it's only a plate I'm asking for, but I just paid money for that plate. Okay, don't be giving spoons and napkins away and stuff like that. That's not good business. If you knew you were coming to work at a flea market, you bought food, and then I got to give you a plate. Don't be surprised if some of them come up to you and say, "Can I use your microwave?" Get ready for that. My microwave don't work. Okay, get ready for that because you got to calculate labor cost per plate, fuel cost, event fees. Some events will charge you $500-600 to go into the event, and you know what? When you get there, you got 20 food trucks next to you, 10 here and 10 there. So events is something that you got to know how to actually make money at events. You know what makes really make money at events? Fish fry. Fish fry. You don't, at an event, you don't have time to be dressing a burger, man. You don't have time, lettuce and tomatoes, and then the customer change their mind. Oh, I don't want lettuce. I forgot to tell you. And then you get the other ones that says, well, can I get a burger? And then they tell you everything they don't want on the burger. I don't want lettuce. I don't want tomatoes. I don't want mayo. I don't want mustard. Well, what you want is a cheeseburger. You could have said that and saved me 10 minutes. So get ready for that. Events, food already ready, meaning prepped food. Your chicken's fried already in the warmer. Fish fry. Fish is ready in the batter, ready to go. If you do a batter, like I said, with the corn and the flour, corn flour, and that stuff, actually, you can't burn it. It'll fry forever. But swai is my recommendation. Okay, let's say social media. You guys already know what social media is what. The only thing is, I think social media, like TikTok, it's like saturated with food trucks. Okay, but if you sit on TikTok, you watch the way these people behave and the way they actually throw it in your face. It's all unprofessional. So you got to watch their mistakes. For instance, if you're going to spend $50 on TikTok, you got to make sure that the option is you want views or you want clicks or whichever. Basically, you want views. If you make a video, Make sure that at the very beginning of the video, you actually depict and then phone number and stuff that you do, and avoid making silly videos because people actually look at it now as like it's not information, it's entertainment. Be thorough about what it is that you are doing. Explain it in a very short conversation, and you can grab bites that way. So you already know YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whichever that you favor, whichever you're comfortable with. Um, of course, cooking videos, menus, and stuff like that. But those are not important. Those to you is just going to be local events. Like I said, events. I don't like events because in case of a fire, believe me, you will not be able to get out on time unless you go to an event and you find a nice spot by yourself. So if anything, you can get out. If you got a big trailer, sometimes you want to leave. You can't leave because people are parked so close to you. You can't get your truck in there. What you do is there's something called I forgot the name of it, but it's a bar. It's a bar that attaches to your truck, and then you can actually pull your trailer like in a jackknife formation. You can pull your trailer out in between other trailers. You might want to invest in that if you like to do events. Okay, the serve safe. Of course, you need the serve safe. When it comes to licensing, serve safe is number one. Fire safety certification. Well, if you have a food truck, chances are you do have the fire system in there already. Otherwise, you would not have passed inspection. Business licenses, seller's permit. That's just another. Choose a high traffic area. How do you choose a high traffic? I made a mistake. My truck was too big. Got a contract out of from Home Depot. It couldn't fit between the poles. The poles were 20. I was 26. Couldn't do that. High traffic. Okay, well, next to a school, I don't know. Next to an airport, yeah. Inside of an airport, yeah. Inside of a flea market, just make sure that you don't have competition, because flea markets, especially the ones in Florida, they got a habit of, you got one fruit stand there, one this that, one that, one that, one. It's like everybody's selling food at a flea market. You might want to avoid that because you're just going to create a lot of hate. Believe me, you're going to create a lot of hate, and they'll start not liking you because you just got a big truck. You just pull up all of a sudden, and you're knocking everybody out the box. Avoid that Salinas type of stuff. Okay, office areas, festivals, nightlife. Depends on where you're at. Food trucks can be dangerous. I mean, take it from me. Festivals, nightlife. I mean, if you like the event type of person, you just do events. If you like the event type of person, you just do events. The problem with events is that you gotta scope. You gotta weigh out your options and say, well, what is it that I really want to do? Are you want to be stationary or you want to do events? I think the smaller the trailer, the better it is for an event. A food truck, as long as the truck is healthy, you can drive back and forth to events. You're good to go. It's well worth it. It is. It's actually worth it. If you live in a town, for instance, that is, locally governed, that's not lobbied by some big Disney, whatever, you can make it. You know what I mean? But remember, the food industry is lobbied and it's controlled. So, let me go down to, I think I scrolled down too far. Okay, don't depend on only events. Okay, don't have a huge menu. Wait time, electrical, plumbing. Refrigeration. Let's go to, let me pick the subject here. Well, they say don't only, don't depend, like, just don't depend on events only. But if it works out for you, a good event could sit you back for about, you can actually do a good event. You can do well enough in an event and chill for a little bit. You know what I mean? And of course, they're seasonal. Vendors' fees, of course, expected attendance, competition, electricity access, sales history. Right now, if you can find yourself a spot that you don't have to use your generator, do it. You don't have to do the whole 30 amps that's in your generator or 50, 60 amps. You could actually buy a conversion plug that could go from a 50 amp plug to 120, or you can go from a 30 amp to 120, which is like you can have a refrigerator and a freezer. That's basically what you need. Keep your freezer going, your refrigerator going, and something else. But if you have to use the generator, guys, gas is like certain places around the country is like, wow, it's amazingly high. Uh, let's go to the next topic here. Well, don't ignore marketing. Many food trucks do fail because nobody actually knows that we are where they're parked. Of course, you're going to do marketing. Me first. I mean, if you're going to be in one spot, I would recommend Yelp. Spend the money on Yelp, okay? Because they got a gazillion websites that they actually, intertwine their SEO with, just like the Yellow Pages used to do before the Penguin and Panda that Google used. Let me see. Don't quit your first. They say don't quit your job. Do weekends only, part time. Don't quit your day job, brother. Weather. Weather can affect. Oh wow, that's a good one. Weather, say rain, heat, hurricanes, slow seasons affect sales heavily in Florida. In the state of Florida, in July, I've had a lot of summers. I've had a lot of summers in the food truck. I don't like it. I said no more. You can't drink enough fluids. And then the deep fryer, the weather, like 100 and something degrees outside. You imagine what it is on the inside. So I don't know if you're fortunate enough to avoid summers, you can do it. Rain, oh gosh, I mean Florida is like if it doesn't rain, it doesn't rain. When it rains, it rains. It floods. So that can affect if you're gonna do an event in Florida, you gotta always kind of plan for that. Um, so that's that. Don't open without insurance. Right now insurance is hard. Nobody wants to insure anybody anymore. It's like if your roof in your house is more than 10 years old, forget it. They'll drop you. This is such a scam. This state, I've never seen a scammous, gamous state, even in the history books. Okay? They won't insure your house if you paid for it. You know that? Yes. Florida won't insure your house if you don't have a mortgage. Welcome to Florida. It's like if your next door neighbor go out and have an accident, they make you pay for it. Florida had me pay an administration fee to reinstate my license that wasn't suspended. Can you believe that? Because I had out of state insurance. They felt as if, well, wait a minute, you don't have insurance. I was able to prove to them that I had insurance. They still gave me a bill for $156 because my license will be suspended next month. Anyway, I'm fighting that. Food liability insurance. Why not? It's not expensive, actually. It's not expensive, but some certain places you go, they might ask for it. Employee damage. Good luck. Good luck even finding good help. You got to actually have that in mind too. Good help is hard to find. Okay. So I'm running on 35 minutes and 22 seconds here, guys. I'm gonna leave the mic open for a little bit, or I'm gonna stay for a while. And any questions? If not, I'm gonna shut this down. And um, hopefully, you guys subscribe. You need some info, leave a comment. You can even write me personally. That's not a problem. And we go from there. Until next time, guys. Chef John, grab and go. I'll see ya.